Hello, everybody. It's Donna Cravata from the Intentional Visibility Project here on Substack. And I'm launching something today that's going to take us through the whole summer. It's called Sustainable Rhythm, and it's something that came about from my life and my work. And it's a 10-part article and live stream series where I'm going to go live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. I'll do a short live stream and there'll be an accompanying article that goes with it. And each week we'll go through a different part of my methodology. It's a 4-part methodology, but there are lots of other parts to it. So the first part is called Tried and New, and the second part is called Found and Known. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. And I want to tell you a little about how it all kind of came under this umbrella. I've been doing this work for about 15 years. I primarily do this work now with women, 50 and beyond, that are creating businesses that are their next act businesses. It's the work that they can't not do. It's what they love and what they're choosing after all of the things that they've done that maybe they didn't really want to, or they didn't even realize they didn't want to until they were in there. But about 3.5 years ago, I'm in my 20th year of business now, but about 3.5 years ago, I stopped everything that I was doing and I redesigned my business. And the reason that I did this was twofold. I realized I'd built an agency that I didn't really like. And the second part was my physical health. I was about 3 years into my AFib journey. And at that point, I'd had several ablations and, tried all the meds and the lifestyle changes, and nothing was working. And my body was screaming, like, you're not listening to me. And, part of the redesigning of my business was I needed to stop pushing as hard as I do. And, I was conditioned to do that since childhood. I worked in law firms for 25 years where there's, the slow speed is like, maximum performance. And I needed to readjust the way that I worked. So in the last 3.5 years, I rebuilt my business. I decided what I wanted to do, who I wanted to work with. I launched the Real 50 Over 50, which is a live stream interview series that we do every Wednesday at noon Eastern. And we've done over 165 interviews, and we're booked. I think there's 3 interviews left to schedule this year. So we're booked solid, and they're all incredible stories, but those stories have changed me fundamentally, as well as, just created all of this opportunity and connection for so many women. Um, but what happens is my body was still out of rhythm. And, part of what I wanted to achieve 3.5 years ago was finding sustainable rhythm. And that was when I launched my first Substack. And it was supposed to be just for my essays and really my story about AFib, and to share what was happening, because as I was learning more about it, I was also learning, none of this was ever, none of the solutions were created for women. They were created for men. And our hearts are different, our bodies are different, our hormones are different. And there was really no good solution out there. And the doctors just kind of say, eat less, exercise more, power through. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to power through. I'm going to have a damn heart attack. Like, that's not going to work. So what I realized is I needed to find sustainable rhythm. I had no idea what that meant. So I titled my Substack Cadence, and it was, I'm going to paraphrase here. I don't even remember what I really named it, but it was something about, finding, one woman's journey on finding sustainable rhythm. And it was going to be a combination of my stories and this AFib hell I was going through. And maybe other people would feel, you know, inclined to join because they were having similar situations. I wrote 3 articles and I stopped because I basically didn't know what to write because I was just in it. But 8 weeks ago, no, 7 weeks ago, I started taking Zepbound, which is a GLP. And yes, I wanted to lose weight, but more importantly, I read all of these new studies that were coming out on how it helps AFib. And almost instantly, all of the inflammation started to leave my body. And my I have an internal heart monitor, and my electrophysiologist sent me a graph, a 3-month graph of my heart rate, and I was in AFib every single day until May 22nd when I started taking Zepbound, and then it pretty much stopped. They sent me another report at the end of June, and there were little blips, nothing to really speak of. So what I have been fighting for 3 years, 3.5, 7 years really, and almost instantly stopped. Um, it's just amazing. So when that happened, all of these other things clicked. I felt like I was having these messaging issues. I couldn't explain what I was doing. And I was wrestling with Claude one day. And, Claude just responded back and said, none of this is an issue. You just haven't named it. And what I realized was, although I've been doing this work for 15 years, I did not name the second part of the work, which is found and known. I was so immersed in, how do we find our stories? Let me just explain what tried and new is. It's where we go in and we look at what we already have before we start building something new. I mean, at this point in our lives, we've worked for 30, 40 years. Like, what have we created? What have we contributed to? What have we achieved? What have we failed? Like, what are these parts that made us who we are today? And what I've noticed from all of these interviews with women over 50 is, the word reinvention is kind of shoved at us, but we don't want to reinvent. We don't want to be somebody else. We worked really hard to become the person that we've become, and we want to be more of that. We want to grow more into that. And the act of going through what you already have helps you achieve that, because now you have evidence. You have evidence of, oh, of course I could do the next thing that I want to do because I already did it. Probably did it more than once. And then when you start to pull these pieces together, it is like other than raising my child, this has been the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my business, to sit on the other side of a Zoom screen and watch these women that I work with put these pieces together and remember parts of what they've done and what they've accomplished, and realizing they don't have to do more. They just have to gather and curate what they already have. So I've built systems around this. And so that's what tried and new is. Tried is like, you're pulling the things together that you already have. You're going through it, what stays, what goes, what could be upcycled, recycled, what could be given away, sold. You're putting it into these buckets, and then we move it over into Google Notebook LM. You could use another tool if you want. I really like this because you can create these private libraries where it's not pulling from anything else other than your own content that you provide. And you could start to create content that is always going to be yours because it's all yours. It's not pulling from any random, like, other people's IP on the web. It's just pulling from your content. And the thing that AI does when you work in this context that is so incredibly powerful is it sees things you can't see because you're too close. So it will start to recognize patterns in your work that you never noticed before. And when that happens, now you're seeing this reflected back to you. And again, you're having that of course moment. Of course I could do this. Oh my goodness, why did I forget about that? Why didn't I do something with this in the past? I mean, I've had clients that have remembered books that they wrote 13 years ago. I have a client now that found 10 podcasts, no, 13 podcasts that she hosted 10 years ago that she's turning into a whole new series to launch her Substack. And it's just been incredible to watch this happen. And the second part that, I've done this all along, I just didn't name it in this part of my, like, this iteration of my business, is found and known. And found is where you start taking that content that you've built in these libraries and turn it into new things. It could be an article, it could be a course, it could be, services, it could be whatever it is. It could be a talk, a book. You could turn it into anything. But this is where you start to kind of craft it into new content, and you fill the gaps, because when you start letting go of things, there's space for new to come in. So what are those new things that you're going to bring in? And this is also the part where you learn a little bit about SEO, a little bit about AEO, which is answer engine optimization, and how to format your content so it's found by human beings and it's found by bots. And when people find you, when they're looking for something specific and you have that thing that they're looking for, that's not you selling. That's not you pitching. That's you just going about your day, doing your thing while your content is out there, creating these opportunities for you. And because they found you when they were looking for something, they are now building a relationship with your content that you have nothing to do with. You're like off doing whatever it is that you're doing. But by the time you get to connect with this person, they've already engaged with your work, which represents who you are and all of your accomplishments. So it's not random, and it's not like, canned or AI slop. It's your work. It represents you. And there is no sales process. Like, if they need what you have and they like you, and you know they're just going to hire you, and that's what happens over and over again. And it doesn't necessarily need to be um, a sales thing. It could be a partnership, it could be a collaboration, it could be a podcast interview, it could just be, I really like this person and I want them in my world and we're going to talk once a month. It doesn't, it could be something that simple. And it just happens. And that's one of the things that I was really trying to figure out how to kind of map also, because it just happens. It doesn't get attributed to anything, because it once you start working in this way, the opportunities just show up. And you either take on the opportunity or you don't, but you're not really attributing it to anything, because they're just showing up. So I was just trying to figure out how we kind of recognize that as we're doing this work. And then the last part is known. And one of the things, I think, now that I'm looking back and reflecting back, why I left these two parts out, is known is the PR piece. And people want to rush to the PR piece. But you've got to build the other pieces first, because that's your foundation. And when you go right to the visibility piece, right to the amplification piece, before you have the foundation built, it's not solid and it doesn't last. So, what often happens at that point is there's a fear of visibility that shows up in any number of ways. And it usually shows up in some flavor of imposter syndrome. And when you have that foundation like arms you against the imposter syndrome, because you have the proof, you have the evidence. Of course you could do this. You've done it before. So imposter syndrome can't compete with that. You've got the receipts. So it's really powerful to do it in this order. It's really powerful to do the inner work before you do the outer work. And I'm not a coach, I'm not a therapist, I'm a strategist. I'm going to teach you how to take your content and make it work for you. But it also brings up things, and things that are ready to be addressed or healed or nurtured, or just given away. So that's what the four parts are. And just a little bit more about the known piece. It is where you start to take that content that you've curated in the tried and new process, and you've built in the found process, and now you start to amplify this in different places. And what PR is, it is not free advertising. I like to use my favorite quote from 1938, from the first woman in advertising. And what she said is, ads are what you pay for, publicity is what you pray for. It's very valuable, it is very powerful. And unless you have a ton of money to throw this at a PR agency, you need to learn how to do this yourself. And it's rewarding because you're building relationships with the people that can introduce you, warmly introduce you to the audiences of people that you want to meet. So those people are on the other end of the podcasts. They're at the other end of the media opportunities. They're at the other end of the live streams and the Substacks and the LinkedIn posts. They're on the other end of that. So, what you want to bring to them is that full body of work that you've done. You want to bring them those receipts. You want to bring them the trust and the credibility that you could put out into the world. You don't want to bring them a dysregulated foundation. So, you really need to go through the process. It's not a suggestion. I've faltered on this a lot over the years because I want to give people what they want. But you know what? I'm 62 now. I don't really care anymore. You're gonna do what you got to do. And let me see if I what else I have on my list here. So I am going to add an article to this live stream page. It will go out shortly. It's already written, and one of the things that's in this article is a tool that I use in how we use and how we do this work, and it's four-way listening. Listening is the most underutilized marketing skill that there is. And I don't like to just listen, on the surface level. When you learn to listen deep, you get this intelligence around your audience, around your business, around what people need, around the words that they're searching for, that you can then start to build into your content. So when they're searching, your content comes up exactly to respond to what they're searching for. So the four ways that you could listen. First, you want to listen to yourself because you want to know, what are you saying? Where are you blocking yourself? We're all blocking ourselves from something. Like, where are you getting in your own way? Like, tell yourself to stop doing that and start to identify the patterns where you stop, you're putting up the roadblocks to keeping you from putting yourself out there in a way where people could really engage and connect with what you do. The second way that you want to listen is to your audience. You really want to know your audience. This is something that people skip all the time, or they do surface level. Oh, my clients are women over 50 that do blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, think about four women over 50 that you know and how totally different each one of those people are, but they're all women over 50 that have a business. All right. And there's nothing else similar about them. So, what you want to start to listen to is, what do they care about? What are they talking about? Where are they showing emotion? What are they saying that they need? And where are they saying this? They're saying this in podcast interviews. They're saying this in social media posts. And one of the ways that you can really start to listen to them is, take two or three of the podcasts that speak to your audience and put them into an AI tool and start to ask questions, ask for the words that they're using, ask for the things that really, where is their emotion in what they're talking about. Look at their social media posts, look at what they are sharing. What are the links that they're sharing? These are the people they admire, the people that they are learning from, the people that they feel so strongly about that they're sharing somebody else's content. And then you want to listen to your tools. Well, actually, you want to listen to the people and the companies in your ecosystem. So, what are the podcast hosts looking for? Go and take a look at, all of the guests that they have and the topics that they're talking about. The media, like, there are all these free, PR tools where you can get media opportunities. I use them for that, but more importantly, I use them for research. What are these last minute opportunities that journalists want to write about? You could write about that too. You don't even have to pitch. You just need to pull the content. And if they care about that topic now, that means that's what journalists are writing about now. And another thing on Substack, there's a ton of journalists here. They're going to notice you if you're posting, what they care about here, because they're searching for those things. And listen to your tools. AI will tell you things that you can't see. So learn how to ask better questions. Learn how to give the tools context, not just say, make this sound more like me, but tell it what you really want to know. I mean, some of the best exchanges, and I call it sparring, that I've had with AI is when I go in and I say, tell me what I'm missing. Tell me what I can't see. This is what I want to do. Like, where are the gaps? And where are the overlaps? And that's where you really start to see what's happening in these gray spaces that you're not paying attention to. And that's where the magic really happens. And that's not using AI as a productivity tool. um, it's not about using it to create a team of employees. One of the things that I realized over the last couple of weeks is I was putting all this pressure on myself to build an AI team. And then I sat down and I saw a post that somebody put up with a beautiful infographic with their team of 8 AI people with faces and names and identities and all the things they did. And I realized I built a business that was so incredibly simple. I don't need most of that. So that took the pressure off of me. I don't need to build all of that. I just need to use these tools wisely so I can get what I need out of them without building all of this structure that's built into platforms that might change. And so it's and not just AI, but this tools are changing so rapidly now. I did an email about this, I think about a week or so ago. But take inventory of the tools that you're using. You might be paying 3 and 4 times for the same thing. It might be a tool you don't even need anymore. So take inventory of everything that you're using and the way that you're using tools, because you might be doing work that made sense a year ago, even 6 months ago, that makes no sense now. And if I can help, reach out, because I'm always testing tools, and I'm always kind of keeping up on all of that. But these are the 4 ways to listen. And later today, I will be adding a workbook. I have a link in the chat here. There is like a landing page, a home page with the links to all of the 10 live streams that we will be doing. We're also going to do 3 roundtables where we're going to just get together and talk about this so I can help you. Bring me your questions, bring me your ideas, bring me what you're working on. They're 90-minute, they're not webinars, they're 90-minute like working sessions. I want to really be able to help bring this methodology to other people, because what I know about this methodology is I've been doing it for 15 years and it works. It works when tools change, it works when you change, because it's most of it is based on the things that don't change. And when you can build the foundation of your business on the things that don't change, you could withstand the things that do. So I just want to share all of that through these interviews, through these through these articles, through these live streams, and through the roundtables. And next week, our um, article and live stream, we're going to talk about the architecture and the parts that you need to build this. And on that landing page is a list of all of well, actually, in this article that I'm going to paste here, there's going to be a list of all of the different articles and what they are. And I'll be sharing all kinds of things there. Also on the homepage, I will be putting a dedicated chat there so we could keep the conversation going. But I'm really here. I'm here to help, and I'm here to share something that I created that's really special, and I have not seen it anywhere else. I've looked for a long time and I've never seen it anywhere else. So come and join me live. I'll answer your questions, and I'm here to help and build on Substack. I'm learning as I'm going. I'm building as I'm going, and I want to build a nice community here where we could all grow and learn together, and find this sustainable rhythm for our lives and our businesses, so it all lines up and works for us, and we're not fighting algorithms, fighting our bodies, and fighting against, you know, we just fight we do too much. Like, take a step back. Let's just kind of chill. That's what this is all about. But thank you, Catherine and Kristen and Nick, for joining me live today. And got some nice comments in here. Kristen is saying she never would have launched without her guidance and support, and still learning. And you've got 9 subscribers. Woohoo! We're gonna increase that. And Catherine's got 19, and she's got her stuff going. She's created um, her notebooks, and um, all of your blog and email and social media content is coming from that. Yes, automated enough that you turned it over to your OBM. Excellent. Love hearing that. Love, love, love hearing that. Okay, I will be back next week. I will be sending out all kinds of stuff. Connect with me. I'm here. And thank you, thank you, thank you. And just so much more to come. I'm very excited.